Alright. I don't think I've seen anyone on the team submit a, like a non-scrim VOD in a while, so this is actually kind of interesting. Alright, so our overall, already this is like a little sketch, because as Ashe, you want to take long angles as much as possible, right? And you want to avoid taking the same angle as your team, right? Because the worst thing that can happen to Ashe is like you're trying to spam and you die by accident because someone else was taking damage. So what you don't want is to be stacked with the Rhine, really, right? You can start with the Rhine initially when you're walking in the corner, right? But you want to get off this angle as fast as you can and like either swing left or swing right depending on whatever your Rhine's doing, right? So if your Rhine's going left side, you want to be swinging to the right to get an angle where you can set up a real crossfire and also not take spam meant for your Rhine, right? So you're already like it's kind of risky, like you could easily take shots intended for your Rhine here, and you also can't shoot anything really, right, from here, right? What are you supposed to shoot, right? So you want to sort of counter mirror your Rhine's movement, counter strafe, right, depending on what the enemy team is doing. So the enemy team is matching as well, so this is even better, right? You get free poke, and you can even go wide and get free shots on the squishies, right? But this is what you want to avoid. Where'd you go? I lost you. There you are. Do you feel like how limited this angle is, right? And also, by the way, as soon as your tanks meet, that's a great time to dynamite, because that's when it's like the most pressure. So this should also be a dynamite, like throw a dynamite right here, shoot it, right? That's a lot of value. Yeah, that's good. It's just too late, right? Like the fight's been on for a while, right? The Rhines have met. So okay, this is probably too much stuff at the same time, but dynamite timing is super straightforward, right? It's a really easy ability to use. It's hard to hit sometimes, right? But in terms of actually like figuring out when to use it, it's really easy. So you can use it to like spam if the enemy team's rotating, right? You just build ult really fast, like just like use dynamite pretty much on cooldown, right? And then when the fight's about to start, you hold the dynamite as long as you can until like tanks meet, right? When tanks do stuff, that's a great time to dynamite, right? Your tanks, their tanks, doesn't really matter. When tanks do stuff, that's a great time to dynamite. Doesn't matter who you dynamite, right? As long as you hit the dynamite. Squishies are generally better. Doesn't have to be them. It can be tanks as well. Just whenever tanks meet, it's a great time to dynamite. And then positioning wise, you don't want to be here, right? You want to be at least here, if not here, right? By now, right? And you've had the time to do this as well. So positioning wise, don't play with your team. Don't stack the same angles. Play as far as you can. You're a long range hero, right? Unless they have a Widow, like really abuse your range, right? Ashe is the longest range character in the game besides maybe Hanzo or Widow, and Hanzo is very unreliable at this range, so you don't really care about him. And Widow like will require you to do certain things, right? But there's no Widow in this, right? So don't worry about it. Like, do you see how close you are to this Rhine? Like, it just feels gross. You gotta have this instinct. It's like, oh, this is gross. This is Mei position, right? This is what you want to do on Mei. This is not what you want to do on Ashe. Okay, if you get hooked now, right? Ooh, that was close. Yeah, like it just feels like you don't get to shoot anything except shields and like deflecting Genjis and Roadhogs and like it doesn't have impact, right? But if you're here, right? And when like first of all, this team's gonna have to back up because like your team is applying pressure, right? When they back up, they're backing up into your crossfire, into your like crosshairs, and you get free kills, right? Maybe even a dynamite, right? And you'll build way more ult. They see like how hard this is to shoot. There's like cover everywhere. People are hiding. They have shields to deflect, right? Oh my god, this is so easy. Shields. Roadhog. Like, do you see how many shots you had? You had one shot on the Moira. That's the entire like that's the entirety of all the shots you had that were like both easy and value. Like free in terms of like she was in the open, right? And then value because it's like a squishy, right? That was you got one shot before she faded, right? That just kind of sucks, right? But over here, like you just get more, right? That's not you. Okay, hang on. This is bothering me. Alright. Let's go dynamite though. Also, get in the habit of reloading, right? If you're trying to get around the corner and you can't see him, just start reloading because your scope in is very fast, and so is stopping the reload, right? So just get in the habit of reloading whenever like you're not able to shoot anything for even like a second or two. Just like even just adding a little bit of ammo helps a lot. Okay. So there's just generally speaking on Ashe less full reloading and more reloading like 2 to 3 shots, shooting a couple, then reloading a couple shots, and this fits very naturally in with Ashe's tendency to like show up for a couple seconds, dynamite, and then rotate, right? So we talked a bit on like McCree and Widow about like constantly like flanking. I don't know whenever you're Widow, but we talked a lot on your McCree about like changing angles and like flanking. So with Ashe, right, you get to here, right? You take a shot, a couple shots, you reload as you switch, right? Then you take a couple shots here, you reload, right? Then you come over here, throw a dynamite, shoot, right? The enemy team pushes into here, right? Say they walk up here, right? So then that's when you like back out, like you go from here to like you back over here in case they push out. And while you're doing that, you reload, right? And they peek into you, you take a couple shots. If they don't peek into you, you keep reloading, right? And then when they start backing up, then you meet them again over here, right? And now you full ammo, right? So that's kind of like the rhythm you want to get to, right? As you rotate, you reload. As you lose LS, you reload, right? You just constantly reload, and then find angles to shoot and throw dynamite from, right? Again, so the problem with this angle, right, is you're going to be face tanking against them, right? It's good help though. Good dynamite as well, right? But again, get off this angle. You don't want to be here, right? You want to be like here, right? Or even here. This is maybe a little too greedy because like this is their spawn, but but you can do some really dumb stuff, right? Is in terms of like flanking, you just need to like pre-position and time your flank for when the enemy team is like too busy to do stuff. And that's why dynamite when the tanks are meeting is really good because that's when they're guaranteed to be too busy to do stuff, right? And that's when you can pop up for like a flank dynamite. But see, this is the like, what can you shoot here? Right? This is gross, right? Ugh, feels bad. You want to be here, right? And if someone tries to help this Ryan, they get shot. If the Ryan backs up into you, you get shot, right? And as the fight develops, you can go even further, right? And go here, right? And maybe catch his help, right? Trying to rotate. Or the enemy team like trying to rotate out of here, right? Or if they keep pushing, right? You get over here, and like now you have a flank, right? All you have to watch out for is their spawn now, right? You can shoot them in the back. You shoot this Ryan in the back if he holds this position for longer, right? Or at minimum, if the enemy team starts running over your team, your team starts backing out, right? If you're here, right, you just back over here, and you're in a great position to shoot them like in the side as they push on to point, right? Who's gonna push you, right? Like if this Genji isn't flanking, right, you don't have to give him respect. But this is really sketch, right? Nice shots. Oops. Out here playing aim labs. Like it's good that like your aim has actually improved a lot in like over the course of my time like coaching you, like pretty dramatically. But that said, right, like you want to play aim labs from further away on this character. That's what I'm trying to emphasize, I guess. Further away and with different angles, right? Don't play with your team, right? This shatter would not happen if you were somewhere else. Just putting it out there. Nice shot. You should dynamite this guy. Yeah, don't coach gun him, right? He's like coach gun if he's on top of you, right? Don't coach gun him unless he's on another one of your squishies, right? So if he's on your tanks, don't bother coach gunning him because it doesn't really do much. And you much rather just hit your dynamite first, right? Good dynamite. Again, you don't need to reload 10 shots there. You just need like 3 or 4, right? And then go back to shooting, trying to kill someone, kill the Genji, for example, right? And then if you can't kill him, right? If you get down to like 1 bullet and he's still full health, maybe start reloading again, right? This is probably also a decent bob, to be honest, but right, so this dynamite is too early, right? And immediately it gets less value, right? Because this Ryan has no reason to drop his shield, right? So this is common with autos as well, is they'll just kind of throw their nade and hope for an anti. But even if they hit the anti, like the Ryan drops some shield, it doesn't really do much. The enemy just backs up, right? I mean, in this case they cold, so it'd be pretty good. But it's just a lot easier to get value in the dynamite when your Ryan is hitting their Ryan or their Ryan is hitting your Ryan, right? Because the people are just more likely to drop the shield then, right? And it's just easier to land dynamites because there's more stuff the Ryan has to worry about as well, right? There should be a Bob. Bob something. Anything. Ah, don't walk in for the Bob. Yeah, don't worry too much about the Bob. We can worry about placement later. Just make sure you're using it at a good time, right? Ults are being popped. Your team is pushing back, being forced back, right? Just throw the Bob and run. But you walked forward, right? And you delayed the Bob, and now you're going to die for it. Again, you don't see anything. Start reloading. They're not people. Generally speaking, will not peek you again because they're not dumb. But if they do peek you again, right? It's not you don't lose that much from not being fully scoped and waiting for them to peek, right? Your scope is relatively fast. It's not like Widow has to charge, right? Why does the dynamite land, right? That Ryan is not looking at you and blocking it, right? Because he's trying to do stuff. Oh, nice shot. Alright, so again, you see your Ryan here? This is a red flag. I don't want to see the Ryan on your screen. Especially this close to you, right? You want to be somewhere else. Alright, you're looking for your Mercy. That's fine. Yeah, so this is good. Your Ryan is left, so you lean right, right? Just make sure you don't get flanked. So you see this Ryan dropping, and he's also moving to your Ryan, so this positioning is okay. You just want to be like maybe back here, right? Or even deeper on the flank, going this way, right? So you get better angles, right? But just be cautious, because if he drops and goes to a point, you don't want to be right next to him in shadow range, right? You want to be like at least here, if not over here, right? Again, this dynamite's too early, right? If it gets blocked, because he had no reason to drop his shield, right? Wait until things happen, right? You can farm with dynamite, like you can go for squishies and stuff when nothing's happening, right? But be careful about like just throwing dynamite on tanks when they're not doing anything. And also, again, watch out for your flank. This is what actually matters, not this. Like, fights aren't won or lost here usually, they're won or lost here, right? So, yeah, don't die to this. Oh, you're gonna die to this. Oh, nice push gun, but... Side note, like, instead of dynamiting the Ryan, you can just dynamite the McCree, and he's way more scared now. Because he has to get help from his healers and all that stuff. All that jazz. Like, see how free this is? Like, it doesn't matter how bad your aim is, or how good your aim is, like, eventually you'll kill something, right? And you're just out here playing aim labs, but from a distance. Feels good. And this dynamite, oh, it's so value. Actually, you only got one. You shot it a little too early. Unlucky. Wow, this feels really nice. See, the problem is, right? Why are you walking forward? You can just sit here all day. If you want to get a better angle, right? If you feel like they're leaving your LOS, right? Instead of going this way, right? Go this way, right? And then you can see the McCree walking at you, and you can do something about it, right? But by walking in scope, right? You lost sight of what was going on the right side of the map, right? You're over focused on main and not the flank, right? The flank is actually what matters. The reason why you're winning this fight is because you're on the flank, but as the fight develops, you can walk more and more towards the main. See that? You want to just keep playing over here, right? Just keep going around the going around the map, you know, around the map in 80 days. Nice. Nope. You already know what I'm going to say about this. Careful, he's all. Oh, nice. Okay. Ooh, McCree. So McCree is literally the same thing as Ashe, just from a little bit closer. But you don't want to, like, again. So if your Ryans are fighting here, right? I want to see you over here, right? If you're holding their spawn or something, like their choke, right? And your Ryan is fighting here, I want to see you like jumping on top of this or peeking to the left, right? I don't want to see you here or here, right? Anyways. McCree is the same thing as Ashe in more ways than one. Yeah, I mean, true. That's what we call top tier Reaper play. Alright, be careful about this. That guy is scary, right? And this is why we go the high ground generally, because it's a little bit safer. But yeah. That was a good split. It just said, like, be careful of, like, walking too deep when your Ryan is, like, actually losing. Also, your Ana is doing some weird things. She thinks she's Ashe right now. Yeah. I don't know, your Ryan just kind of died. You see how free that is? Right? You just come up here and it's like, wow, I just gotta blink away. Now you gotta not die though, because they're pushing you on both sides. Actually, what happened to this side? They left. Oh, he's right here. Good flash. Right. And again, don't run towards main. Run this way and just watch out for this guy, right? That should be an automatic reaction. Don't get stuck here, right? Again, don't get stuck here, right? This is where main is. Wherever the enemy tanks is where main is really, right? So don't even though there's a McCree here and he's scary and you're low health, don't walk this way because this is where the tanks are. Until you know otherwise where the tanks are in terms of like audio or calls or you just see it, right? Don't back this way. Walk this way. And as soon as you see that Ryan or the hog over here, right? Then you lean in this direction and then maybe pop over the wall, right? But you don't like back up this way until you know there's no tanks here. Do you see like how? Okay, so first of all, don't leave cover when there's a hog. This is asking to get hooked. And then second, again, like you're shooting shields again. It feels terrible, right? You got to shoot a Moira here for 3 shots. She instantly died, right? You shoot Ryan shield here. It doesn't matter how many shots it's going to have. This Ryan is literally never going to die to you unless he like literally walks at you for like 30 seconds. Okay, that was that was a little telegraphed, but again, right? You flashed him, you unlit a full fan the hammer. He still did not die. Neither of these tanks are gonna die. And what's happening over here is Zarya's losing the flank, right? Focus on the flank. Don't worry about main. You can solve main once you just sort of win on main by default once you've solved the flank, right? Nice. Again, right? You got the kill, and you go right back to looking at the Rhine, right? No, solve this problem first. Take the high ground, shoot, kill this Ana, right? And then go back to solving main, right? This is main now, right? And this is also main technically. This main has gotten really big because the tanks have split up a bit, right? But they're still in the center, right? They're still centrally located, and this is not main, right? And this is not main, right? So solve this problem first, and then the Rhine can't do anything, so he's gonna have to leave, right? Or you just walk away from him, and eventually he runs out of stuff, right? And then once that's dealt with, then you address point, right? But in that order, right? You go outside in, right? From here to here, right? But you don't go like, okay, kill this guy. All right, I'm gonna push this guy, and then I'm gonna go this way, and then I'm gonna go this way. Like it just doesn't work like that, right? Outside in. Like, do you see how like eventually this hog just isn't able to do anything because like you have crossfire on this, right? But this only works because you're not getting pushed. But you're not getting pushed because your Sombra is doing this for you, and your Sombra's dead, and now you're about to get pushed, and you might lose control now, right? And if you drop down now, this is like losing all control, right? So like honestly, you should be like backing up now because you know there's a like stuff happening over here. So either back to here or back to here until you know what's going on, and then push back across, right? Woo! Yeah. Again, right? Why did this happen? It's because like you didn't help your Sombra with this kill, right? She gets a kill and then dies for it to the McCree. But if you're here, right, you potentially just trade out the McCree, or you make the McCree look at you and not your Sombra, and your Sombra doesn't die, right? And then you maintain control, right? And then you win point, right? You just win point by default. I don't know what your Ryan's doing on point to be honest, but like you're definitely not helping matters. I knew it's a little questionable. Your team was already down 4, but alright. You just went invis. Should probably try and flash that hog, but it's also okay. Wait, there's a Rhine right there. What the? Yeah, so unless your team is running like speed, like going with your team kind of sucks because getting out of the choke is next to impossible, right? I'm gonna ignore this because it's whatever. So just generally though, like when this is going on, you want to be like before your team gets to this point, you want to be drifting this direction, right? And then popping out over here as your team reaches the choke and starts trying to push out, right? As that happens, that's where you want to peak, right? And this would also be a great high noon, right? Or you roll out over here, right, and then set up the high noon over here if they're not looking, right? There's a bunch of stuff you can do, but the point is, you want to like time your entry on this side of the map, either the high noon over here, right, or poking out here to shoot, right, as your team pushes there. And again, why is this good? It's because it's an angle, right? And you like apply pressure on the opposite side of the map from where your team's going. If you're going with speed into this comp, like they don't have the greatest protection for the Rhine, so it's like it'd be a little bit better. So if you had speed, right, you could go with your team potentially, right, and then as your team bursts through the choke, you push out, make sure there's no Reaper here, you push out of here, make sure there's no Reaper here, and then you have an angle, right? You can get on top of this high ground, you can apply pressure, or you just play here if the enemy team is backing up this direction, and then like you feel pretty safe, and then you can transition to playing the high ground, right? But that can only work if your team can reliably push or like burst through the choke. If that can't happen, either with Mei or with speed or with any other tool, right? Then you have to off angle for your team, or you're just going to be subject to the whims of your tank all day, right? And you just do more from the side anyways. Oh my god, the Rhine's lurking again. That's him, right? Yeah, that's him. Oh my god, it's the second person. This Reaper as well. Unfortunate. And this is why we check our corners. I saw a scrim once at like a high level, it was like EU contenders, where the Reaper, like it was on King's Row and it was barred. I don't know if you're talking about. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Where like there's like a doorway here and there's like a mega over here, right? And then like a staircase that goes up or something. But there was like a Reaper hiding in this room or something. I don't remember which side he was hiding on. I think he was hiding over here. And his team was playing. No. It was his team was offense, pushing the cart on payload. Double rolled. And then he was playing here, right? And the defense team was going through the through main, like pushing in, and the Reaper just like as this was going on, the Reaper just like walked into here, checked this corner, and forced him to Wraith, and they won the fight off that. Just the fact this Reaper like was looking at the enemy team, they're walking in, right? And he just like instead of going in, right, he just like walks in, checks the corner, finds the Reaper, right, and forces Wraith. And that single-handedly won the fight, right? Obviously, I'm not expecting you to do that much, right? You're playing McCree. People are also dumb and very inconsistent, right? But in scrims, like that's something that's really powerful. Just finding the flanker before they get to do what they want. Yeah.
Back in the saddle again.
Again, do you see how hard this feels? Yeah. Like, yeah. Like, what did you actually get to do that fight? Right? You got a flash, you got to fan the hammer, and that was it. Right? That's all you got to shoot. And that's just the nature of going with your team, right? And your Rhine didn't block to shatter, you get a bad grab. Again, you're at the whims of your tank when you go with your team, right? And your tanks are, if they're not good, you're in a bad situation. And the problem is they not only have to be like good, they have to be better than the enemy team, the whole enemy team, with just the two of them. Because again, who else is going to do anything in this choke, right? You're not going to do anything because you're sitting with them, right? Your Torb is not going to do anything because he's also sitting with them, right? Like, so basically they have to, with the Rhine Zarya, they have to like outmuscle 6 people because their DPS literally can't do anything as they're playing here, right? And that's the power of your Torb or Kree going this way and just setting up the angle, making the enemy team have to turn and do other things and worry about damage, or ignore and just eat a million damage on the side because the Rhine's like playing right here or here, and both get shot very easily from the other side, right? That's why it's so important for the DPS to flank, because they don't do anything from here, and then your tanks have to like fight an uphill battle literally the whole way, right? Going under again, right? The problem here, right, is your Rhine's here, so everybody looks this way, and you're gonna have a hard time getting out, right? Imagine if your tank went under, right, and you were like, okay, I'm gonna go. Where's the door? There it is. This way, right? And you come out over here, and you find a free McCree. You get the high ground, right? And everyone's looking at down here, right? You win the fight in most cases. Triple rolled. What does that mean? Like, you see how hard this is? Oh, walking out from recover, probably not the play. Yeah, it's just really hard. It means a lot of rolling going on this spot, Kappa. True. I mean, that was quadruple rolled, right? He just rolled.
Score 1-1. Ready for battle. 2-1.
Alright, back on Ashe. Alright. So, I'm sure you realize about maps with very, like, obvious high grounds make it very easy to figure out how to angle. Because it's like, wow, I'm going to go up here, and I'm holding a different angle from my team. Oh, nice. Again, don't shoot the Roadhog. Like, shoot the Roadhog when there's nothing else to shoot, right? But just as a general analysis, right? If you can hit 3 shots on the Roadhog versus just 1 shot on these squishies, the 1 shot on the squishies has consistently way more impact. It gives you less ult, but like you see that Moira, how that Moira died? You hit 1 shot and she died, right? You hit like 2 or 3 on the Hog, did nothing to him. He didn't even care, right? And that's the power of hitting squishies. Squishies die really easily, so any damage you put on them, like, just makes it so that any more random damage will just kill them. So if, like, say you hit a random shot, the turret does like 30 damage, and someone like your Lucio hits a random headshot, that guy just dies, right? And that's why hitting squishies is value, right? Tanks, you hit 3 shots on the Roadhog, he doesn't care. Listen to audio, listen to audio. I know there's a Rhine in front of you, but again, what do you hear? Here, Reaper directly underneath you. He's right here, right? This is your priority, not this, right? Like, you're shooting a Rhine shield, you're dropping, right? That was a good shot, though. But again, the Reaper is what's going to win this fight, right? Prioritize squishies. Even though Reaper isn't that squishy, but, you know, you get the idea. Also, don't give up your high ground. just sit here, right? Maintain high ground, you win the fight, most likely. You only drop when you have no ability, there's no one here to control anymore, like they're all dead and everything is happening on point, and then you drop and look for a dynamite or something, and then like clear out, sit here so you can clear this angle, like this is where people oftentimes hide from you, right? But until that happens, right, don't drop. Until there's nothing useful left to shoot. Alright, team won the fight anyways. Lieutenant Butters popping off. Alright, don't use Coach Gun getting a spawn, right? That's a very easy habit to get into, but we need to get here, right? So on this map, don't forget, or not don't forget, but like, you're allowed to do this once to forget, and then once you get here and realize you need Coach Gun, I don't want to see this happen again, where you like walk out of spawn Coach Gun and be like, I can't get aggro now. So like, you're allowed to do it the first time when you forget, but once you remember, right, don't make the mistake again. Again, right? Angle sucks because you're playing with their team. You're not elevated, right? I'm moving my hands around. You can't see anything. You're also playing too close because you're playing with your team. If some random thing were to happen right now, you would be unable to dodge it. Good headshots though. Railings. Right. Don't forget dynamite. Yep. Nice try. Again, don't forget. Instead of looking at this guy, just walk this way and try to shoot the Ana, right? Make this Ana respect you. Don't let her feel safe here, right? The Ana is what's going to win this fight, not this Roadhog, right? Also, like again, sound cues. You hear Reaper anywhere close to you, make sure you look at him. Again, like because of that first Coach Gun out of spawn, by the way, we never retook high ground. Just putting it out there. We kind of took high ground like we were playing here, but we got pushed because, like, again, this is much easier for Reaper to access. Again, if that Rhine doesn't block the shatter, you die, and that's not on the Rhine, that's on you, right? Yeah, probably not the Bob. I think your team was losing that anyways, but don't really mind. Alright, no Coach Gun out of spawn this time. Nice. Right. Wait for your team to at least somewhat start grouping up and then go take high ground. Please take high ground. Please take high ground. No. If the Reaper drops and kills you with Death Blossom, that's on you. Alright, you're checking the angles. That's good, right? But then please follow this up with taking high ground, right? And now you can just shoot anything you want, right? And even scout that, right? You can scout that from here. You can't scout that from here, right? Yeah. The only danger, the reason why I told you to wait for your team to get here, is you need to make sure that you can do this in LOS for your team. So in case the Reaper's hiding here, he doesn't walk out and just instantly kill you, right? So that way, you walk out. If like there's a Reaper up here, you can get a bubble or some help, right? Listen for the Reaper! Listen for the Reaper! You just heard him teleport right next to you! And there's also, again, when you pop up, right, check everything. Just look around, right? Pop up, don't pop up scoped unless you know where someone is, like with walls or something, and you're going for a kill, right? Like a quick assassination, right? That's like kind of a widow play. You grapple up, you scope as you're grappling up, you go for the kill, right? But like as Rash, pop up, right? Like look around, quick unscope, as unscoped, and then scope in on what you want to shoot at, right? This is Ashe, you can always quick scope with no penalty.
I need to recharge.
Teleportation.
Hey, TP. Free high ground. Don't even need your Coach Gun. Yeah, careful peeking the hog. Like, you kind of just want to bait hook, so you like peek once or twice and then stop peeking, and then it'll probably miss the hook. And then like try and find something you can shoot, right? Safely. Again, you hear Reaper underneath you? That's a priority. Alright, he's out. Right, he got Nano. He's going to Death Blossom. You're terrified. Again, don't shoot the hog. Shoot this guy. He has Nano and Death Blossom. Scary, right? Alright, you dodge the hook. Nice. Pressure on squishies. I like this. You know you have several second window because there's no hook. Turn around and shoot people in the backline. This is also good. Look for dynamite here. Just dynamite the Ana. It's so free. One of the benefits of dynamiting backline is, first of all, like pressure on backline is always better than pressure on tanks. It's just that like you don't always get a pressure on the backline, but this Ana is literally donating it to you, right? And the second thing is dynamite makes it very difficult for them to heal off damage, right? And that way your burst is much more likely to kill them, right? So you put dynamite and the initial explosion damage plus residual burn means that when they start getting healing, they're not actually healing that fast. And then on top of that, it puts them on an HP threshold where you can one-shot headshot them very often, right? Like you hit a lot of shots there, but because she wasn't on fire, like she just healed it off, right? Like if it's a literally free dynamite, please take the dynamite. Like don't sell out to get like a dynamite on the backline, right? But if it's staring you in the face, go take it. Also, to be honest, you had Bob this whole time, and then team was out here, so if you just Bob behind them, they can no longer retreat. That's something you can always consider as well. Why are you dropping? Just play here and shoot these people. Oh, were you trying to go to point or something? I guess. But at the same time, you really don't want to have to be the one touching. Alright, again, don't use your coach gun, because you're going to need to go back here, right? So instead of coach gunning up to here, just walk over here, right? Get over here, and coach gun back up, right? This is where you actually want to be, right? So you don't want to wait for 12 seconds for another coach gun. This guy is feeding, so it's not a bad idea to bob, to be honest. Although it looks like he was feeding so badly, you didn't need to, so take those. Again, don't overfocus on this. I know this is tempting, right? And it's good to look at this and take your free damage, right? But keep in mind, like, just watch this side, make sure no Reaper gets a jump on you, right? That's the most important thing. Og was flanking, right? You didn't know until he shot, right? That's the danger, right? You don't know about the flanks until they happen, right? You want to catch them before they happen. Right? Reaper teleported, right? We heard that one at least. We sort of threw the Reaper into our team. Why are you on point? Like you don't need to do this for this bob. You can be here for this bob, and it's way safer, and you get better coverage, better like angles, right? Wait, he's like translucent. What the heck? Anyways, if you die now, right? This is based on your positioning. That's a good dynamite, but like you're gonna die here, and this is 100% preventable. They didn't even have to work for this, right? Reaper didn't have to teleport to you, or Hawk didn't have to hook, right? They didn't have to work for this kill at all, right? You gave it to them. Alright, it looks like that's the end of the game. Yep. Alright. So overall, not bad actually. Your aim has gone like dramatically better in a relatively short amount of time, which is pretty cool to see. That said, right, again, don't stack with your team, especially on Ashe, but also on McCree, right? McCree, just like the angles you want to take are generally a little bit closer, right, to your team, but it's still the same concept of don't play with your team, don't focus on main, don't shoot tanks if you don't have to, shoot squishies, and really prioritize like, shooting squishies whenever you get the chance, right? I know the tank is easier to hit, but as soon as you see a squishy, don't tunnel. Just try to aim at them instead, even if it costs you like missed shots, right? It's better to miss a shot in the squishy and make them have to do dumb things to avoid getting shot than it is to hit a tank, and have a squishy just rotate for free in front of you or something, right? Because they give you a lot of free shots, right? Part of climbing is recognize when people are doing dumb things like a lot of the rotations and just taking your free like damage or kills, right? Yeah, hope that's helpful. If you get to this part of the video, DM me what 6 divided by 5 equals.